All right, guys, it was a small green day today. It wasn't a big green day, but green day nonetheless. And I eked out with a $6.75 gain for the day today. And overall, I felt like the trades that I did take today were good, but could definitely have been better. But I made one big fatal mistake as a beginner newbie. Definitely made this mistake, and I've made it before and several other times. And I'm going to talk about that today and talk about the trades I did take today. So let's go ahead and get into that now. So the trade I took today on the stock that actually produced me the $6.75 profit. It was actually more than that when we look at the actual trades I took. So I had $1.50 on YIBO, and then I made another $13.50 on YIBO before giving back $5.25 on that, and then also lost $3 on LIPO as my initial trade in the day. So let's dive into the trade and just see a little bit about what I did there. So what happened is the very first trade I got into was this one right in here. So I had seen this going up, so I decided let's jump in for a starter, and I actually jumped in with 50 and did 50 shares in my paper trading account, which I felt like I should have been doing at least 100 shares at that point. You know, right now at that point I could definitely do 100 shares and jump in, and then got into the next candle and things started to go sideways and went down. I should have stayed in the trade though. I don't know why I got out of it. I felt like we weren't going the right direction, and then this candle started to come down with a bottoming tail. I felt like we were going to kind of go stair step down rather than stay with the trade. But what we had to realize was that this was not going below this candle, so obviously we should have just stayed with what we had. And I jumped out with a $3 loss. It was a break even basically loss trade there. And then I waited another minute or so, and then I got in on this candle here when it broke right here above this little micro pullback here, which is the typical trade that I am trading as I am getting started in there. And it's really good to stick with one strategy. The one I really like to do is a micro pullback because they're one of the easiest trades to take. And basically that's when this candle will take off and it'll kind of come into the red here on this bottoming tail and then come right back up. And that's when it's got this kind of volume and you got the right stock, obviously, this can obviously happen. You can't do this with every single stock that's out there. You got to pick the right stocks that do it, and there's a certain thing you have to look for. And maybe I'll put a video together sometime talking about the right stocks to pick and stuff like that. But this one got in. I got to this candle here. It started to go up, did that bottoming tail again, and I ended up stopping out. I think totally came up to, let's look at that again. So I got in at 519, stopped out at 543. Now, if you notice here on this candle, at 543 is right in about here, just right below the top of that candle. So now, if you notice anything, there's still a lot of green candle above that. And one of the things I did is I made that fatal mistake of getting out too soon, thinking I got this gain, I don't want to lose it, and I got out really quick when I should have realized that we're still above the last candle. And really what I should have done is been looking at this candle next to it and thinking, well, a candle under candle position is the only time I would really get out of that position, because we were shooting up so fast that point right there, that the candles were squeezing up so fast that really, we weren't going down too far, to where we were going under this candle. It's only when you start getting under this candle, you start to see that this momentum starts to break down. And if I would have rode this up all the way to up into here, I mean, that was almost a 2.5 point gain. And it actually did a halt up. That's what this gap is right here, if you're kind of wondering what that is. This is a halt up. So this is a circuit breaker halt. This is where basically the stock came up so fast, and once it gains, I think it's 10%, and within a specific period of time, it will do what's called a halt, and the trade will basically be suspended for a minimum of 5 minutes. I think this trade actually stayed suspended for, let's see, 9:39, and then came back at 9:49. So it was halted up for 10 minutes before it came back. But usually what happens on resumption on most of these halts is they really jump up and will come up significantly, and it actually came up to 783. So you can imagine getting it at 519 all the way down here and riding up to 783, or getting out somewhere in this area. I mean, that's a $2 to $2.50 gain you could have made. I could have made on each per share. And, you know, just on 100 shares, that's over $250. So that was the big mistake that I made today. I could have done much better on this trade. I could have stayed in longer, and I could have earned far more per trade. Now, it's always, in hindsight, easy to look at this trade and think that, you know, it could have all just worked out perfect. And, you know, reality is reality, and I just got to live with it. And I got to know next time when I'm in this trade, I just got to let things go and wait for that candle under candle. Now, in this case, if I would have waited for the candle under candle, I would have been in literally seeing this candle. And once it started to go red, I've been like, well, let's get out soon. You know, let's get out now. And even it took a little bit before that happened. Even you could have necessarily said way down in here that this is the candle you would have gotten out of. And after that trade, pretty much after that halt and all that had happened, basically there wasn't really much to trade on after that, because the MACD started to cross over on this particular candle right in here. And basically that means once the MACD crosses over, we don't want to take a trade anymore on this position. And the rest of the day, I don't think there was really much of anything to take a trade on. It just kind of started going lower and lower. It never really came back up to its highs of the initial part of the day. So I pretty much left well enough alone and moved on, and took all the trades that I did. So I took 3 trades on this total, and then I took 1 trade on Wint pre-market. We'll just look at that here real quick. Shouldn't have got in that trade, honestly. It was where it was. I kind of felt like this right here was the moment it was starting to break away. Can't remember what time was that trade I took it. Wint was at 9. Oh, well, no, maybe I did. No, I took it right at 9:30. So that's when I did that. I didn't do it at pre-market. I took it right at the opening bell, actually. So maybe I'm a little mistaken. So right at the opening bell, guess what? Took the trade, and guess what happened? It started to dump. I got out, and a little $3 loss, not a big deal. I didn't really like this stock a whole lot, anyways. It just didn't offer the things I was looking for. Or wait a minute, no, wrong trade. That's what I was thinking. I was like, wow, that's the wrong stock. It wasn't Wint, it was LIPO. My mistake. I was looking at LIPO, and then right at the opening bell, guess what? This thing started to pull away. I was on this one, this candle right here, thinking we're about to pull away. So I jumped in, and guess what? Flush, and pulled out. It was the same basic setup. Did the same exact thing, which is kind of crazy. It did the same thing in this stock right at the opening bell, pretty much. I mean, so, you know, it had good news on it. I thought that honestly we were going to get some solid price action out of this. The news was fairly good on it. I think it was a pharmaceutical, yeah, but it just never really got anywhere. It never really went up. So YIBO was really the big one early on this morning that I should have taken more on, you know, and just rode that momentum up, like I said. And it would have been, overall, it just would have done a lot better. So there's my trades for the day. So right now, as it sits, I'm at $6.75 for the day. And when we look at my charts where I'm at, it was still a green day, even though I had 2 negative trades. So it gives me $6.75 profit, and brings my profit for the month up to $116.85. And overall, I still our profit to loss ratio actually went down a little bit to 1.73 to 1. Not the best, but it still works. It's there. You know, we're still green for the month. We're still doing good. I want to work. There's 2 more days of the month left, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to next month. And I think I'm going to be doing things a little bit different here in August. I'm actually going to track just by day. I'm not going to track each individual trade, because it's just a lot of work to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to track by day instead of track, because putting all these trades in there, it takes a lot of time, and honestly, I really don't want to know each individual trade. I want to know, was my day green or was my day not green? And that's all I really want to know. and it just makes it easier for me to track things and get everything figured out. So overall, that was my day. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can go over to Trading with Chris and you can subscribe, hit the notifications, and you can get updates just like this and see all my trades I'm taking and follow right along. So I'll see you in the next video.